So the producer comes over to me and he said, "Buddy, come here. Hey, whatever, the dog. Come here a sec. Listen, since we've been coaching you up and giving you a few more pointers, these takes, whatever you call them, these posts, they ain't funny. They ain't sad. They ain't entertaining. There's nothing about them that you would say you could market." And I looked at him, I was like, "Listen, bud, I'm an idiotic, stupid dog. I was doing what I do. No one invited you along. You invited yourselves. You said we could get a bunch of money. You ain't got fucking jack shit out of this deal. And now you gotta sit here and bitch at me? I'm a talking dog. I'll take this collar off. Guess what? I'm not a talking dog. Maybe I should take this collar off and put it on you, Well, the problem was the producer, he wanted to try to get some more views because our views were been tanking. And he said, "You've lost your mojo. You don't got it no more. Whatever you're doing, they ain't buying." And I was like, jeez, what are you going to do? I mean, I'm in a cast of characters. It is what it is. I'm an idiotic, stupid dog. I live in a beautiful manor house. I'm watching the man date Vinegar Gravy, but that's not going so well. And not only that, the man, he brought home a barmaid in last night, a barmaid. And they sat up all night talking. Then they finally went into our chambers. They left the lights on. You could hear the TV blaring. And then all of a sudden they went up to one of the upstairs, old-fashioned, big, enormous boudoirs. They went up there, and who knows what they got into up there. It could have been dirty. It could have been anything. All I know is that after that happened, then this morning, because last night the man brought home a barmaid, Vinegar Gravy was nowhere to be seen. I think they got this house bugged. I think her dad, Cold Sore Jimmy's got this manor house of ours bugged. It's like you could put it in a termite hole or a wasp den. You could put a listening device almost anywhere. But the thing is, Vinegar Gravy and the man, they got in a terrible fight this morning. And I was like, how would she find out that he brought home a barmaid? First off, I asked the man earlier this morning before, Vinegar Gravy. Vinegar Gravy and the man got into it at 7:45 on the phone, and then she came over here like 8:26 or 8:17, and then they got into it in face-to-face. It was uproarious. I was petrified. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was scared the whole time. I had my tail tucked between my legs, and I was quivering. And I'm old. I could care less. I'm going to die soon. This might be what kills me. I was worrying. So anyways, they're screaming and hollering. Before she came over, I said to that man, "Hey, did you score, you dirty old dog? I'm a dirty old dog. You are a human version of a dirty old dog. Did you score?" And the man's like, "I insisted I was not going to have sex with her. For one thing, I thought her flitter might have stunk a little when I got close one time. She bent over to pick something up, and I took a whiff, and I was like, oh my goodness gracious, this isn't happening tonight. This girl has to get a bath before I'm having sex with her." That's just because she's a barmaid, and she's skanky, and she's probably had a lot of sex with people, and I don't know her bathing routine. So I was going to wait and hold off. So I was going to be Prince Charming. She wasn't a Prince Charming. I was playing with her hair. I was rubbing her toes. I was trying to crack all her knuckles. I was giving all the sensual, loving kind of things and spooning. She wanted none of it. She wanted the dick. I said, "Honey, we're going to have to start from square one in this situation. Then we're going to start from scratch, so to speak." Well, when I heard the man and Vinegar Gravy in their horrible fight, and it started in the solarium, a beautiful glassed-in room that you could put some plants in. There's no plants. It's a breakfast nook for us. And the cat comes out, and we breathe the fresh air. That's the best breath of fresh air you could get around this manor house, is that something they build it away from. It sticks out like 12, 15 feet, 20 feet away. So the man and Vinegar Gravy got into it right there, and I was sure they were fighting about that barmaid. I don't even know if that barmaid got out of the house. She might have still been up in one of them big chambers for all I know. But it turns out, when Vinegar Gravy stormed off, the man came out. He had a big bruise and a cut. He had a bruise all over his right side of his jaw, and his lip was puffed up, and he had a vicious cut atop the head above his right eye. His right eye was, it was on my left. It was his right eye. Had a giant gash, and blood was streaming down his face all over his clothes. I said, "What the hell?" And the man looks at me and he says, you wouldn't believe what he says. He says, "We got in this big fucking fight because Vinegar Gravy insisted that one of the algorithms is that when women hang out together for a certain length of time, especially college age women in like dormitories, they eventually get to have the same menstrual cycle. Get on the same day. They smush together and they viv and they vibe and they come together and they basically get on one groove and they all start menstruating at the same time. This is something maybe Jehovah designed so they could all clean up and go out, get everything took care of at a certain time of the month and everybody comes back and everybody could hang out the right way again. You know what I'm saying? You had to do the thing. But it didn't matter. But the man said that what they got in a bad fight of is he understood that happened. He said the man suggested that it was just like when men hang out a lot and they golf, and especially if they feast, if there's any eating clubs. In the old days, there was Viking clubs. Vikings would get together and have 7-8 day feasts. You had fat people, fat men's clubs. These days, you have just plain old eating clubs. They're beautiful. They're cooking steaks. They're cooking pork. They're cooking chicken. It's beautiful. It's a high, rich protein thing. You got corn on the cob. You got sauteed mushrooms. You got frog legs. You got butterfly shrimp appetizers. You got the salad. They've done away with the dessert because they're pounding beer. You pound beer for an hour or an hour and a half before the meeting. And at the meeting, everybody gobbles down and horks down their massive, delicious amounts of French fries, baked potatoes, all the things you love. Chicken livers, like as an appetizer, delicious chicken livers. It's glorious. It's amazing. Well, anyways, the cool thing about that is when these guys all get together, they golf, they go to golf outings, they golf together in the mornings, they go to a vacation, they do whatever they do that joins them together, whatever binds them all together. Even if it's just a bi-monthly eating club, they eventually all have to get on the same colonoscopy, whatever you say, schedule. It's 10-year schedule, so it's like a comet going by. It's like a big thing. It's like an astrological thing. But all the men, eventually, by like 65, certainly by 75, they're all getting the colonoscopies basically in the same month, whatever that month might be. You never know what it could be, but they're going to convalesce or conglutitate. Well, Vinegar Gravy says, you stupid bastard, that's not what it is at all. And the man was like, I told her, I was like, yeah, it is. It's the same thing as girls menstruating, men getting the colonoscopies. What? Everybody, you're like, oh, everybody I know has got the colonoscopy in the last 2.5 months, It's a 10-year thing. Everybody's getting it done. I mean, the doctors, they come in like gypsies. They do colonoscopies, and then like 10 years later, they come back, 8 years maybe. But, they're here for a couple of years, and they're gone. Everyone's serviced. Everyone's basically around the same, like, 3-month period in the entire area. And the Vinegar Gravy, at some point, she got freaked out. They got a terrible thing. The man's like, why can't you see this? It's not that big of a deal. I'm saying, you said it's a thing that somehow mystically they all start having their menstruations at the same time. I'm just saying, it's like a 30-year process, but men all start having the colonoscopies at the same time. Why can't you? And she blasted him over the head with some kind of thick bottle and like knocked him for a loop. He got up and he told me he started trying to run, and she grabbed a hold of him. He turned to fight. And when he finally showed a little backbone, he kind of gave her a knee. He said, I tried to knee her right in her punani, but I missed and I hit one of her ovaries. But it jolted her enough. She got her composure, and she left. I didn't want to have to hit Vinegar Gravy, but I had to knee her ovary because she was getting ready to whoop my ass horribly. Maybe throw that. Maybe she was going to throw me right through that fucking window. I looked at that window. She looked at the window. I was like, she's saying that's where I'm going. And I gave her a knee. I tried to hit her pussy, and I hit her right in the ovary. It's okay. It didn't matter. She's tough. She called me up. She texted me. She said I was still on for tomorrow, and I realized she's trying to take me to a barbecue over to, Coaster Jimmy's house tomorrow. We're getting a fight like this today over the fact that she thinks my algorithm wasn't the same or similar to her algorithm. Example, her algorithm simile wasn't anywhere near as mine, so we had to have a knockdown, drag-out fight, and I got to have stitches. When I looked at the man, I was like, oh my goodness gracious, listen, we're going to end this story right here. We're going to pick it up once you go on over to Coaster Jimmy's house for that barbecue. And the man was like, you don't think I got to get me a couple Valium. And that's how the man started getting in deeper with Coaster Jimmy. The man couldn't find no Valium, so he finally got with Coaster Jimmy, who keeps him like in a ring. He opens up his ring, there's like 3 pink Valium in it. He tapped out 1 or 2 for for the man. And the man said, oh, thank God, because tomorrow when I come over to your house, I'm going to be looking at your stupid face. I'm going to fucking look at your stupid mug. And Coach Jimmy didn't know. He started reaching for his pistol like he was going to give the man a pistol whipping. And then the man smiled, and Coach Jimmy said, you stupid oxygen deprivation bastard. You had me going. Oh, for Christ's sake, he said. And the man looked at him and said, don't take, and Jimmy finished the sentence. The man said, don't take, and Jimmy finishes, don't take the name of the Lord in vain. I'm sorry, the man, jeepers, creepers, whatever. It doesn't matter. It does matter. I'm sorry, it does. I'm sorry. And the man said, yeah, it doesn't matter. It does.